Hey guys, it's Panda from Politics and Calipers. This is a little recorded segment of a live segment that I did, but my audio was a bit foobird, so good to go over it again. It's Jimmy Dore. Let's be very honest here. It's gonna be fun to go over. So, let's see, unmute the site because I think that's what messed up my first recording. This is gonna be interesting.
Anya Parampel is with us. She's a journalist based in Washington, D.C. and a contributor to The Gray Zone. She's produced and reported several
7 seconds in. The Gray Zone is a Russian apologia network. They accuse people of being about the State Department, but then if you call them out for being Russian mouthpieces, they'll buckle. I don't think necessarily being called a U.S. State Department propagandist isn't wrong. There's a lot of stenographers in journalism, but I'm already stun locked.
Documentaries, including On the Ground. Please welcome Anya. Proud to see you. Stephanie, say hello.
Hello, Anya.
Okay, Steph is also here.
I gotta say, if what I saw in LA was any indication, the special's gonna be great.
Oh, that's very sweet. Yes, that was an indication. It was an indication.
Hey, Anya, can you come a little
I
closer to the camera?
show every night.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, look at you, girl.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
stay close to the camera. You're so smart. Thank you.
Okay, so you asked me if I was going to cover the. I can't even. What's the lady's name that did the testimony?
Cassidy Hutchinson?
That's it. So you texted me today. So you're going to cover
I
this.
thought she was sainted now. We all must know her name.
Oh,
I went to the comedy club in Burbank last night over at Flappers, and there were people talking about this. Like, hey, did you see that testimony from the thing? I'm like, no, I don't follow the January 6th. They're like, how could you not follow that? And I'm like, because it's all bullshit. And they're like, no, his own blah, blah, blah.
So I might disagree why it's bullshit. There's some bullshitty elements to the committee itself. No charges might stem from it. That would be pretty bullshittian. I have a feeling he might say it's bullshitting for a different reason.
Said that he was choking his own driver. And so, all right, so I looked into this. So I went and I got the video of that woman's testimony. And what's her name?
Cassidy.
Cassidy what?
Cassidy Hutchinson. Cassidy Hutchinson.
Cassidy Hutchinson. And I thought it was interesting. They had a commercial that ran in front of it. And of course, it just reminds you you're in America because everything is sponsored, right?
So live from Washington, D.C. It's a Capital Report, Monday, July 4th, 8, 7 Central. Sponsored by the Boeing Company and American Airlines.
That's right. That's right. Sponsored by the good people at Boeing.
I will say it's a mean fireworks show, though.
Yeah, I bet.
Capital.
Yes, I would like to go. Where else would the United States of America get the money for a fireworks show unless it was sponsored by the good people at Boeing?
Pfizer, I guess.
I'd probably get it from Pfizer.
Hey, that's the Ukraine money at work.
So here we go. So let's watch this testimony. Liz Cheney is chairing this. She's fantastic. I think she should be president. And she's pro-torture, which is what it makes. You need to be. You got to be
whispering it.
You got to be pro-torture if you're going to be president. So here's what she said happened. Right? Here's what she said happened. Here we go.
She is pro-torture. Liz Cheney is is a Republican. Okay, she is a part of the problem. Just because her, Mitt Romney, and a handful of others are a bit better doesn't give it a right to run away and bless them. So don't.
President's motorcade leaving the ellipse after his speech.
So there's the president. He's leaving. Let's speed it up. Go ahead. Go faster. So there's the president. He's leaving. And now listen to the story. Cassidy Hutchinson is going to tell about what happened.
When you returned to the White House in the motorcade after the president's speech, where did you go?
When I returned to the White House, I walked upstairs towards the Chief of Staff's office, and I noticed Mr. Ornato lingering outside of the office. Once we had made eye contact, he quickly waved me to go into his office, which was just across the hall from mine. When I went in, he shut the door, and I noticed Bobby Engel, who was the head of...
When she said that, I thought we were in for a Matt Lauer moment.
Yeah, it's a Me Too moment.
Yeah, I was like, when he shut the door, I was like, oh no!
He had a button under his desk. And
Mr. Trump's security detail, sitting in a chair, just looking somewhat discombobulated and a little lost. I looked at Tony, and he had said, "Did you effing hear what happened to the Beast?" I said, "No, Tony, I just got back."
Why?
The Beast is the presidential limo, by
Can we get on with it?
the way.
Yeah, so she says, did you effing hear? Why did you have to put effing in? Like, who cares if he swore?
So,
Yeah, no kidding.
effing hear what happened.
Did you
she
effing
does that
hear
a
what
lot.
happened in the Beast? First of all,
It's a very ASMR testimony, by the way.
very, very good way to put it. Here we go.
I ran across the hall.
Yeah, she's very breathy with her speech, right? Okay, here we go.
What happened?
What happened?
Tony proceeded to tell me that when the president got in the Beast, he was under the impression from Mr. Meadows that the off-the-record movement to the Capitol was still possible and likely to happen, but that Bobby had more information. So once the president had gotten into the vehicle with Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol, and when Bobby had relayed to him, "We don't have the assets to do it. It's not secure. We're going back to the West Wing." The president had very strong, very angry response to that.
She starts smiling when she says that.
Everything. Yeah, I mean, just look at her face.
Why is she smiling when she?
Is it the face of an honest person? Is she behaving like she's telling the truth?
No, she.
I think something that that might already be able to be picked up on is this is 100% aesthetic attack, zero sustenance. Also, this part was just one element of her 2.5-hour testimony. To focus on this, like this is all that she said, is a really disingenuous thing if that's what this video turns out to be.
She seems like an actress. She seems like she's acting 100%.
No, that's an insult. I watch some of those American crime story shows where they do the dramatic court scenes, the reenactments, but those people do much better. The actors in those shows do much better.
So here we go. She's got more to say. She's going to tell you what the president did as she giggles. And she's looking down to the left, which some people say is a sign she's lying.
Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, taking me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted the story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
His clavicles?
Clavicles.
And was Mr. Engel in the room as Mr. Renato told you the story?
This would be really huge for several reasons. A, if Trump wanted to go to the Capitol at any point in time after that speech, that would be huge. That would be a complete, as actually Cassidy Hutchinson said, Pat Cipollone, who is now going to testify in front of the Jan 6 hearing, said that he was worried about obstruction of justice, that he was worried about a whole array of things stemming from if Trump had gone to the Capitol. So this would be big if Trump, even post-speech, wanted to do this, even if this is true or not.
Hey, why don't you get off my clavicle? This guy's been busting my clavicle
all day.
all goddamn day. Why don't you suck on some clavicle? I got something for you. How about some clavicle? I got something for you right there. What's that? My clavicle.
He pressed a button and locked his dressing room door and motioned towards his clavicle.
Did Mr. Engel correct or disagree with any part of the story from Mr. Ornato?
Mr. Engel did not correct or disagree with any part of the story.
He did not?
Did Mr. Engel or Mr. Ornato ever after that tell you that what Mr. Ornato
He did not. Well, that would be a pretty big piece right there.
had just said was untrue?
Neither Mr. Ornato nor Mr. Engel told me ever that it was untrue.
So they told her this. So by the way, this isn't her test. She's not giving you eyewitness testimony. She's telling you a story she heard from someone else, and it's not accurate.
When is that ever the standard for witness testimony? Oh, this is what my friend told me.
So a couple of things here. A, this is not a court. They're going to keep making a hearsay argument about this crap. Secondly, this is a first person interpretation of a conversation that happened. Again, supposing that conversation is true. So yeah, it seems pretty pertinent that a witnessing member to that act, Bobby Engel himself, was in the room for their conversation.
The Elon Musk allegations.
That's right. Same thing with Elon Musk. It was not the girl who was allegedly sexually harassed by him, but a friend of the woman who was sexually harassed by him. And that's not...
They paid that woman $250,000, by the way.
Credible, nor is this. This is not credible. Why? Because she's not giving you eyewitness testimony. She's telling you a story someone else told her, and now, by the way, those people that told her that story are disagreeing with her version of it. So here we go. Let's listen to more. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say,
We'll see if that's true.
are you telling me that nobody reached for the guy's clavicles?
Nobody.
Are you sure? Do you seem positive? Oh,
so that's it. So that was the end of it. So that's the end of the part I'm going to play right now. But so everybody's saying that I go into the comedy club last night. People are beaming. Did you see that testimony? Did you see the testimony? And this is what they were referring to. This is the bombshell. This is called hearsay, gossip. This is a bombshell is not gossip or hearsay.
Didn't you establish that that's as good as evidence now?
This might have been a good critique of the Jan 6 committee. They should have just left maybe that story out and focused more about the fact that Trump wanted to go to the Capitol. It didn't seem to come across that way. However, this is still a stupid retelling of it.
Yes, they're already making memes about it. Of course, he's got the Ukraine flag colors, and they're making a meme about it that it never happened. Why do I know it never happened? Because they never asked the Secret Service their side of the story. The committee, the January 6th committee, they asked her to tell a story she heard from a Secret Service person, but they never contacted the Secret Service person. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why. Because it's a bullshit. What's that?
How is that a proper committee? You'd think if you collect testimony from someone that's secondhand, the proper next step would be to say, okay, now I'm going to interview that person.
Why would you want to interview the Secret Service on you when you have a young lady who grabs her neck and blinks a lot? I mean, doesn't that say credibility?
Cassidy Hutchinson.
Cassidy Hutchinson. Also, Peter Alexander, by the way, he's the big shot White House reporter from NBC News. He tweeted out this. A source close to the Secret Service tells me both Bobby Engel, the lead agent, and the presidential limousine SUV driver are prepared to testify under oath that neither man was assaulted and that Mr. Trump never lunged for the steering wheel.
Good. Then get in front of the committee.
And then underneath it says, so basically the January 6th committee has nothing on Trump. Yes.
No. Holy shit. No. So first off, Cassidy Hutchinson was an aide to Mark Meadows, who was the chief of staff. The testimony before this was Trump's acting DOJ, the higher-ups at the DOJ. Throughout this entire committee series, they have had people who have worked directly with Trump. They've mostly had Republicans telling the story about this. They have a shitload on these fuckers, okay? This is super fucking disingenuous. Holy shit.
Yes. Well, even if they do, I believe all women, so I believe her. Right? Don't you believe her? By the way, here it is. Secret Service agent reportedly willing to testify Trump did not lunge at him.
Good.
Testify. So, Senior Secret Service agents are reportedly prepared to testify that Donald Trump did not lunge for the wheel of his vehicle or physically attack the chief of his security detail after his speech near the White House on January 6th, as a former aide said he did in sworn testimony on Tuesday. So Engel told investigators that he and Trump discussed Trump's desire to go to the Capitol and took different views on the topic. Engel noted that they went back to the White House instead of heading to Capitol Hill. But
So Trump did want to go to Capitol Hill. Even in this quote, Jimmy's biting the bullet. Trump wanted to go to Capitol Hill. This is a huge problem. If Trump showed up on Capitol Hill and started to, we would see that riot be about 2x as bad. People would have gone further. Holy shit. This is as bad as they say it is. Jesus.
boy, it's all in the framing, isn't it? Because the guy who actually was there says they discussed different views on the topic, and eventually they landed on heading back
And one view was trying to end the fucking republic.
to Capitol Hill. White House instead of Capitol Hill. That's a totally different story than that woman just told. That's a completely different story, isn't it? And that's the guy she claims told her the story.
Underlying narrative, Trump wanted to go to the Capitol. Jimmy, you're fucking stupid.
This guy says, don't be. So this guy's a law professor. He says, don't be distracted by claims of hearsay. That goes to whether evidence can be admitted in court, not in Congress. Yeah, we don't have any standards in Congress. The key, listen to what he says next, though. The key is that Hutchinson testified under oath. If she was lying, she faces felony charges. The same can't be said for those trying to discredit her testimony. She was lying because the guy said he frickin' didn't do that. And they're
Not under testimony.
willing to testify.
Oath.
So
They're not going to have them testify.
But they're not yet. They just won't have those guys testify, so they're not going to prosecute her, even though she's lying. Isn't that wild?
Who first of all tells somebody else's story the way she told that story, as if she was going step by step in an eyewitness account?
Yes.
Then I entered to the
Aesthetic attack.
left.
I know.
And he proceeded to tell me the story that he had heard. And what I had heard is,
I entered and I went to the left, and then he started to tell me a story.
and then they go.
But on
and
the
she
other
goes,
hand,
Go
it
ahead.
explains why she was so unconvincing.
Yes.
She was so flat, and it looked like she was trying to remember line, and she was laughing. She was trying not to laugh at her own performance because she wasn't telling a firsthand account. So that inauthenticity was on full display just in her body language. But yeah, if I were a lawyer, I didn't go to law school, but I'm pretty sure that if I were building a case, I would never try to submit evidence based on secondhand testimony.
Yeah.
I think you're all ignoring the fact
This is not court. And by the way, at the end of this, I'll tell you why they had her testify most likely.
that she did give specific details, like the clavicle.
Like she did say
She said
clavicle.
clavicle, and she said that Trump said effing.
Effing.
So
we got to check this Secret Service guy for 2 clavicles. That'll tell us what the truth is. Did you see she would just say no? She goes, did he at this point disagree with the thing that the other man had said? And then she went, no, he did not disagree with the thing. You're like, it's just no. He's going, no.
I like.
That's actually a pretty common way to. That's actually media training. Holy crap! No, this is media trained answer. So when you're given a question like, "What did you have for breakfast?" you would say, "For breakfast, I had X, Y, Z." That's real basic 101 media training, so you can't be clipped.
Like that he says, don't be distracted by the claims of hearsay. That's like saying, don't be distracted by the fact that juicy gossip isn't actually evidence. Don't let that distract you. What are you, one of those nerds who nitpick science mistakes in Star Wars? Technically, there's no sound in space. Shut up and enjoy the show. Aaron Mate caught this. He tweets out Peter Alexander saying that the Secret Service people are prepared to contradict that woman's testimony. And he says having Russiagate bombshell flashbacks again, because they said this was a bombshell, that woman's testimony. It's not. The Secret Service.
well-
Go ahead.
It's very similar to how throughout Russiagate, we would wake up one morning and suddenly it would be like Colonel Vindman
Yes.
and Ambassador Yanukovych, like all these people that nobody
Ever
knew
heard
who
of.
they were.
Yeah.
No, but suddenly they were like, oh my goodness, these are the most important. It's very similar to that, where suddenly I wasn't even paying attention to the news cycle. I just was hearing Cassidy Hutchinson, and it was the same. Aaron, it was a
Those people became very important because they're the ones that stood the line. That difference between Vidman and no Vidman is a potential strong arming of Ukraine. I don't know what to tell you.
flashback to that.
Yes.
Bad Russiagate trauma.
Yeah, it's like bombshell, and then you just look at it for 5 seconds and you see all the cracks in their story, and there's no evidence. And that's exactly what happened here. It's a big juicy story, and then as soon as you look at it, it falls apart. There's nothing to it, and there's no evidence. Aaron Mate, but what he connects to here, so he shows this is debunking the bombshell, and then here's Democracy Now! Repeating it. So this is because Aaron used to work at Democracy Now! And Aaron, it's especially acute, the pain he feels when he sees Democracy Now! Being so shitty. And Amy Goodman in Democracy Now! Has been bent on misreporting foreign policy as hard as they possibly can, and stuff like this. So if it has anything to do with Trump, Democracy Now! Is going to on purpose mislead their own viewers, which is what they did with Russiagate, which is what they did with Syria, and Amy Goodman in Democracy Now! Won't even have Aaron Mate on. That's how bad. So they got somehow compromised over at Democracy Now! And you
I have no context for the background of any of this, but again, the big takeaway that you should take away from this is Trump wanted to go to the Capitol on Jan 6. Trump wanted to interfere further with Congress and incite that fucking mob.
decide which donor did it. But this is garbage again. And he's pointing it out. And tip of the hat to Aaron Mate. Liz Cheney, the case for prosecuting Donald Trump just got much stronger. So she's already tweeting it out. There's already got.
She's campaigning for presidency.
She's doing
That's all
something.
she's doing.
Oh my goodness.
The case for prosecuting Donald Trump just got much stronger. Yeah, new testimony may have produced a smoking gun. May have. It may not.
If true, it will really be
true.
Big if true.
As we heard yesterday, White House counsel Pat Cipollone had significant concerns re Trump's January 6 activities. It's time for Mr. Cipollone to testify on the record. Any concerns he has about the institutional interests of his prior office are outweighed by the need for his testimony. Now, let me ask you this, Anya. Is she suggesting that his lawyer testify against Trump? Is that what?
Pat Cipollone is not Trump's lawyer. This is a key and dumbass take by Jimmy here yet again. Pat Cipollone is the White House legal staff. White House, not Trump. Pat Cipollone, by the way, is now testifying in front of the Jan 6 committee. Congratulations.
She's saying White House counsel. So that would mean a guy who was acting as a lawyer for Trump. She wants him to come testify against his client. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, which I don't think.
I don't think you can do that legally.
Exactly. Well, apparently standards are different in Congress. I assume that in court you're actually not allowed to do that. But as they all said, don't be distracted by rational thoughts. And
both, yeah, this is Congress, and secondly, Pat Cipollone is White House legal counsel, not Trump legal counsel.
Questions about.
Why is she saying that to him? Because of this story that the what's her name? Chipperson. What's her name?
Cassidy.
Cassidy. Chipperson. Is she related?
See, actually, already left out of the conversation here is a first-hand account of the conversation she had with Pat Cipollone about how he was worried about if Trump had gone to the Capitol, that they would be hit with, quote, all the charges in the book. I think that's the quote. I might be butchering it. However, Pat Cipollone is testifying in front of Jan 6.
That's it is.
I can't say one or the other. It's Cassidy.
Yeah, two last names. So why wouldn't they just get those guys in the story and not his lawyer? Like, or is this a separate thing they want the lawyer to talk about?
This is probably a separate thing they want the lawyer to talk about.
Oh, okay.
But I just thought that was outrageous that she wants his former lawyer. I thought that was crazy. And you could hear in Liz Cheney's voice that, you know, the timbre of her father advocating for torture. You can hear it.
Well, that's what's so funny about this. It's going full circle. When we are talking about lying to Congress under oath or lying under oath before the United, I mean that was the way that the Bush administration sold its war in Iraq. You can imagine Colin Powell standing there with his weapons of mass destruction, claiming that this was definitive proof.
Complete pivot.
That we needed to go to war in Iraq. And now you have the spawn of that administration, Liz Cheney, carrying on this legacy of political theater, kind of just designed to, in this case, distract the public, but also behind it is, of course, this. Distract
them from what? That Jan 6 was a horrendous fucking event? What are they trying to get at here? Jan 6 is a huge event.
It's the same. It's exactly an extension of the Russiagate hearings, all designed to delegitimize Trump and cast him as some anomaly within the U.S. state. He's somehow very evil and opposed to like our grand tradition of American exception.
First off, Trump is opposed to moral values as America, whatever the fuck that really means, but he's opposed to a republic. The Republican Party is opposed to a republic. And yeah, Liz Cheney doesn't really help it, but she's not hurting it right now.
The irony of Liz Cheney trying to get a former president thrown in jail who isn't her father is the irony is not lost on me. That her father's a much bigger war criminal than Donald Trump, and just criminal. Period.
Do you think that this is all because like Cheney had her grown so he could do a get out on her and put it? You know, she will one day house his wicked spirit. Like,
I'm not following what you're saying. What are you saying?
You didn't see Get Out? Where they transplant the brains? Like, she's gonna just be the vessel for Cheney's brain to keep him alive.
Oh, okay. I did see that movie. Is that for Key and Peele guy?
Yeah, Key and Peele.
Yeah. So watch this. So now she tells this story. You ready for this story? Watch this. Oh wait, hang on. Why isn't it working? Oh wait. Oh, but I have one more story to tell. But before we get to that, there was also some controversy over in her testimony. She said that she had made a handwritten note. I didn't watch this, but this is what there was controversy about it because I was looking it up and I read this. It said the handwritten note that Cassidy Hutchinson testified was written by her was in fact written by Eric Hirschman on January 6th. Said a spokesman for Hirschman. All sources with direct knowledge in law enforcement have and will confirm that it was written by Mr. Hirschman. So I guess she told some big story about how she had written some handwritten note.
Again, somebody that's not under oath is saying that. Let's quickly find that note. Cassidy Hutchinson note. It's the crossing out of the legal is the big element of this one. Again, the Trump admin wanted to downplay what happened afterwards. They did not want to call it illegal. They did not want to denounce them in any form and or fashion.
No, and turns out that's not true either.
Did the note say try not to laugh?
No, it said sit in your chair.
She got her note switched with Biden.
So this is what their response is. While we understand that she and Mr. Hirschman may have the committee's response. While we understand that she and Mr. Hirschman may have differing recollections of who wrote the note. No, she's lying.
This is gaslighting. People can have different recollections of something. You know, not everybody's perspective is real.
Yeah. The note is still the note. You see, they immediately moved away from it. They immediately moved away. The note is still the note. It does not want to denounce Jan 6th.
Obviously, somebody's lying.
I wrote
telling her truth.
I wrote down that note, or someone else did. I'm not sure. What?
Well, you remember it your way, and I'll remember it my way.
Yeah, let's just agree to disagree on who wrote the note.
And here's one more goofy thing she says. Ready?
After Mark had returned, I left the office and went down to the dining room, and I noticed that the door was propped open, and the valet was inside the dining room changing the tablecloth off of the dining room table. He motioned for me to come in, and then pointed towards the front of the room near the fireplace mantle on the TV, where I first noticed there was ketchup dripping down the wall, and there's a shattered porcelain plate on the floor. The valet had articulated that the president was extremely angry at the Attorney General's AP interview and had thrown his lunch against the wall, which was causing them to have to clean up. So I grabbed a towel and started wiping
causing them.
That AP interview, by the way, is when Bill Burr said that there was no significant election fraud to overturn this election.
To have to clean up.
Who talks like that?
Nobody talks like that. Nobody would tell a story if that were something that happened to them.
Is this Dante's Inferno? She's being given a tour of all the. Then here's the place of the broken plates.
Aesthetic.
Ketchup is on the walls. Then I was ushered into another room, and I saw.
In the next realm, I saw his clavicle.
And then I heard Donald Trump slam a door. He slammed a door.
I mean, on one hand, I could believe that people who reach this level in government are that weird, but no, really, that's just, you don't talk like that. It's not the way you tell a story.
Well, just the way she talks is sus. I don't understand.
Aesthetic. Fuck. Okay.
The fireplace mantle on the TV, where I first noticed there was ketchup dripping down the wall, and there's a shattered porcelain plate.
And to sit down and tell the story, like, wouldn't you be emotional and animated?
I don't think she ever doesn't talk like that. Personally.
But she's wearing. Well, you notice how she's wearing white also, right? So that's conscious. That's a conscious thing. So she wants to, and so why would she do that?
We dress in virgin white and go something.
Yes, everyone in this committee is media trained to the nines. So yes, she's wearing white for a reason. She answers questions the way that she answers questions because of media training. Jimmy knows this, by the way.
Right, because she's going to come spray some false allegations and some bullshit, and they tell her wear white. It makes you look more believable. Okay, yep. I've experienced that.
He said something to the effect of, "He's really ticked off about this." I would stay clear of him right now. He's really, really ticked off about this right now.
So he threw ketchup against the wall. That's the big thing. Ketchup. What's that?
She was like, there was ketchup on the wall.
Ketchup.
Every single clip that they've played, they have detextualized it and just aesthetically attacked it, by the way. Just notice the recurring theme.
I got to tell you, my buddy Nick Murphy, he wins the internet. He said Trump's presidency definitely had its heights and lows. Come on.
That's good. That's pretty good. I like
that. And
come on.
Considering John Kerry, it's just funny because John Kerry, Obama's Secretary of State, is married. He's
that's right.
Family. You know, it's all about the ketchup lobby.
How deep does this thing go?
So now I'll go back to the comedy club and we'll see what they're saying today. So what other piece of propaganda will the shitlibs be excited about? They were beaming. I've never seen them smile bigger. Then they're like, "Did you see the thing? Did you see the testimony? Did you see the testimony?" I'm like, "No, I'm not following." "Oh yeah, I got Trump tried to choke his driver." And I'm thinking, well, you always say that Trump is a dictator and he tried to overthrow the government. He couldn't even overthrow his own fucking car. He couldn't even get his own driver to do what he wanted. And you guys are telling me to be afraid of this guy?
This right here. I was worried that he wasn't going to fall into the trap, but this right here. There are people who are downplaying Jan 6th because of his incompetency. Ben Shapiro had another clip. I think it was Kyle Kolinsky that went over that. Do I really want to finish out the rest of this? No, I don't. Okay, so here's going to be my little, like, hopefully 7-minute wrap up to make this a 30-minute video. So right now what he's doing is he's downplaying the danger and severity of January 6th. There's a handful of issues with this. If you're in a personal conversation and you notice somebody doing that, steer it back. Make sure they realize how dangerous it was. Just because it was incompetent and just because it was not going to work doesn't mean it was not dangerous. Jan 6th, I think, can best be compared to Cicero. It's not actually Cicero's conspiracy, Catalonian conspiracy. This happened in Rome a long time ago, where somebody didn't win the consulate seat and decided it would be really fun just to fucking overthrow the government and get the seat for himself. Later down the line, Caesar himself decided to march his army across the Rubicon and take the Republic. Okay, these are good comparisons to Jan 6 historically. Okay, this is the Beerhall Putsch. This is this type of conspiracy. This is Caesar, fortunately, being thwarted from crossing the Rubicon this time. But that is this time. So let's talk about some of the fallout actually from Cassidy Hutchinson here. So as I mentioned, Pat Cipollone is going to testify in front of Jan 6th. this is pretty big. That is, that is huge. This is the White House legal staff, not Trump's, that will be now testifying in front, I believe, on the 12th, as well as Adam Kinzinger. Her testimony put pressure on people, okay? It is a race to the table for some of these people now to find out, who's going to get the best deal, who's not going to go to life in jail. Again, this committee, if it does not yield results, will be pretty sad. However, at the end of the committee, Liz Cheney, Jan 6th, witness tampering. Let's see if they have a quick little clip of it. Here we go.
Do the right thing. That reportedly was part of the message sent to Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson ahead of his explosive hearing.
Quote, a person let me know you have your deposition.
Yep,
What it said.
This is a call received by one of our witnesses. Quote, a person let me know you have your deposition tomorrow. He wants me to let you know he's thinking about you. He knows you're loyal and you're going to do the right thing when you go in for your deposition.
According to a source familiar with Hutchinson's deposition, that...
So what this was somebody trying to do witness tampering right here, very fucking broad. This is actually hopefully one of the best breaks that the Jan 6 committee is going to have. Something so low-hanging as witness tampering that is easy to prove, that's easy to get your hands on, can put pressure more. So her pressure here, that pressure there, we could see some pretty big breaks in Jan 6. So again, to summarize, Jan 6 is really important. And if you're in a personal conversation and somebody's not talking about the severity of it, just to say it was incompetent, but it was just as dangerous. People got riled up and wanted to take down our democracy. Secondly, Jimmy Dore's an idiot here. He is purely playing to gossips, does not actually address any of the content, and I'm pretty sure is continuing to downplay Jan 6, and if you asked him directly, would just say it's not that important. So, yeah, that's my little wrap up there. I'm Panda, and this is Politics and Calipers. There'll be some other recorded content pieces coming soon, I think. Have a good one, y'all.